Hi guys and welcome to this session. Uh, the purpose of this small quick session is just to understand what are the changes that have happened in CAT 2020 and what would be the implications for all of us. Right? So let's understand what are the changes that have happened. See, there are broadly two changes. अगर मैं बात करूं कि what are the changes that have happened, there are only broadly two changes that are there. From 3 hours of an exam, now I'm talking about only 2 hours. Right? So what has happened is just a reduction of 1 hour. Right? So that's the first change which has happened. Now the second change that has happened is, which you'll realize, is that until now, for all the three sections which I had 1 hour each. Right? So for 1 hour for verbal, VARC, 1 hour for DILR, and 1 hour for quant. Now what has happened is, from 1 hour I have moved to 40 minutes for each section. So in place of 60 minutes, now I would be getting only 40 minutes. Right? And in total, I would be getting 2 hours. These are the broad two changes which have happened until now. Now, what I need to understand over here is that has it happened for the first time CAT is being done in 2 hours? No. Let's understand what is the pattern that CAT has followed until now. So if I look at the pattern, I'll realize that from CAT 1990 to CAT almost 2005, right? The time was always 120 minutes. So it was always 2 hours, right? So it is not something which is very new as far as CAT is concerned. So यहाँ से लेके 2005 तक I already had an exam which was of 120 minutes or 2 hours. In terms of the number of sections, it has varied from 4 sections to 2 sections, and from 2000 to 2005, it has always been 3 sections. However, what has changed is that if I look at from CAT 90 to CAT 1995, I moved from 180 to 200 questions to 75 questions, right? So I had 180 to 200, then I had 185, 185, 160, 120, and finally in CAT 2005, I had 75 questions. Another thing which you'll realize, guys, is from 2005 when I moved to 2006 and 7, in spite of the fact that I moved from 120 minutes to 150 minutes, that is, I've increased 30 minutes over here. The number of questions still remain the same, so 75 and 75 only, right? So it's not that the time has increased, so the number of questions have also correspondingly gone up. It's only in CAT 2007 that has CAT 2008, I saw an increase of 15 questions, right? And then suddenly from 9 to 13, in spite of the fact that I was giving 150 minutes, I still had only 60 questions, right? So it's not that it is happening for the first time that you have 120 minutes, as it happened a lot of times. However, in CAT 2020, we are not expecting the number of questions to be in this range. It's not going to happen. What has really changed over the past so many years as far as CAT is concerned, that CAT has moved from more of a speed-based exam to an accuracy-based exam, right? And that is a transition which CAT has seen. So if I look at CAT 1990 to CAT 2004, it was more about speed, right? Especially when we were talking about 180 questions and 200 questions. Right? Now from CAT 2005 onwards, I've focused more and more on accuracy. So as far as CAT 20 is concerned, again, I would be looking at accuracy only, right? This would be the priority. So we were typically expecting that the number of questions might range anywhere between 65 to 80. That's the range which we are expecting. Okay. One thing let's understand very, very clearly. Since the time has come down, we believe even the number of questions are also proportionately going to come down, right? So let's say if in 1 hour you are getting 34 questions in VARC, So in around 40 minutes, the questions are going to proportionately come down, right? So we're not expecting that you will get the same number of questions in these 40 minutes. Let's understand one thing, right? Looking at the focus of CAT since past few years, where they are focused more and more of accuracy, I don't believe that you will have the same number of questions. The questions are going to come down. Okay. So from 34 questions, we say you might come down to 25 questions, 26 questions, and so on. So please understand that's only there has been a change in the schedule. So from 3 hours, I moved to 2 hours. Correspondingly, there has to be a change in the time limit for each section. So from 1 hour, I moved to 40 minutes. And consequently, we are also expecting that the number of questions to come down. Okay, how much it will come down, that's something which we are not very sure of, but our belief is that it will be in proportion to the reduction in the time, right? So that's one thing which is very, very clear. So there is absolutely nothing to be worried about as far as the change in pattern is, as far as CAT is concerned, right? Another important thing which might be there in the mind of a lot of students, especially with respect to a section like quant, where there are a number of topics. So you might see a decrease in the absolute number of questions for each topic, right? So let's say for arithmetic, if you had 34 questions, correct? Sorry, for 14 questions, then you might see a reduction in the questions coming down to 8 or 9. Correct? So we are our point of view is that it would only be a reduction in the absolute number of questions for each topic, and not in terms of the relative number, right? So the percentage wise number of questions will essentially remain the same. The absolute number definitely is going to come down, right? So let's say if arithmetic enjoyed around 30% weightage in CAT 2019, it will enjoy the same weightage as far as CAT 2020 is concerned, right? So we need to understand this one thing, that's only an absolute number, decrease in the absolute number of questions, relative wise, we will still remain the same. And the simple idea is why I'm telling you this is because, see, it's not being done consciously by CAT. It is being forced by COVID circumstances, right? So it's only because of COVID that CAT has reduced the examination time from 3 hours to 2 hours. It's not that they have done it intentionally. If this would have been a non-COVID time, and then if the CAT would have reduced it to 2 hours, then there's a lot of things which we could have thought about, that what is the change that CAT wants to bring about. But then this has not been done consciously, and that's why it has been declared so late and not at the time when the original forms were announced. Right? So it's only that it has been forced due to the circumstances. That's why we feel that the overall, content, the overall knowledge, subject knowledge, which the CAT wants to check or the CAT wants to evaluate, will essentially remain the same, right? So as far as you people are concerned, there is absolutely no change in preparation. Okay, whatever you were preparing before, you're still going to prepare the same, right? So whether it's a one-day match or you're looking at a 2020 match, you still need to know how to play, right? It does not matter. The 2020 and vis-a-vis a test match or a one day does not make knowing how to play irrelevant, right? You still need to practice, you still need to focus on the basics, because CAT is still going to check the same things, right? So whatever CAT is evaluating, that is not going to change. Be absolutely sure about it. So there is absolutely nothing to be worried about, correct? Please don't go into social media, stop that social media nonsense of all the chatter which is going around, which would start and it would be an over analysis of what CAT has done, right? Don't waste your time in all of that. There's absolutely no use in this, right? So there's no use wasting a lot of your time on a lot of other YouTube channels looking at what is happening, or on various social media, so on and so forth, looking at what are the probable changes, etc., etc. One thing which is very, very clear is CAT is never going to lose its focus on basics. They have always looked at basics since past so many years, and that's why they have reduced the number of questions, and that's the same thing which CAT is going to focus even now. So I believe there is no reason for you people to be worried about anything. Yes, the number of questions have come down. The advantage of this is that you now have to focus for less amount of time. Previously, if I talk about, you had to focus for 3 hours, that sometimes became tiring for a lot of students. So it's actually a good thing that you have to focus now only for 2 hours. correct? So this whole idea of moving from 3 hours to 2 hours is actually beneficial in some sense for students, where you found that maintaining that concentration till the end of 3 hours, it was becoming difficult. So now you have to focus only for 2 hours, and so it's a blessing in disguise probably for a lot of you. Right? So again, I want to reiterate the same thing. Don't worry about anything. There's nothing absolute. There's nothing major. There's nothing earth-shattering that has happened. It is simply a change in time and change in the number of questions. Absolutely no change is required in how you are preparing or how you are giving your mock tests. Everything will essentially remain the same. Just focus on your preparation. Don't waste your time in worrying about how many questions will come, what would be the percentiles, and so on and so forth. You cannot determine it right now. So there's no point even wasting time or worrying time on it, right? So focus on concepts, focus on basics, and continue what you are doing. Correct? So you do not have any control over the number of questions that CAT will give. What would be the percentiles? What would be the scores at you get 95 percentiles or 99 percentiles? Nobody knows, right? So there's no point even looking at and searching around for information that what would be the potential number of questions or what percentiles, etc., etc., and etc. Okay. So guys, just to wind it up, again, only two major changes, nothing of relevance as far as your preparation is concerned. Just only the paper timing that has changed, the topics have not changed, the sections have not changed, so your preparation will essentially remain the same. I hope I've been able to address your queries. Again, do your preparation in the same manner as you were doing. You have to devote the same number of hours. You have to prepare in exactly the same manner as you were doing until now. It's only how you give exam, the time is going to change. I hope I've been able to address a lot of queries and probably some fears in the minds of all of you who are watching this. Thank you so much, guys. And I hope this whole change is not going to rattle you in any manner. It's not going to change the preparation which you are doing, and you will continue preparing in the same manner as you were doing until now. All the best for your CAT exam. Thank you so much.